how local construction companies are staying cool in this summer heat. I'm Jalen Banks with more on the story.
We're learning shocking new details about the police response to the Uvalde school shooting as senators in the Capitol behind me race against the clock to produce a gun control bill. I'm Griff Jenkins in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. The highest court in Kansas has declared that the state constitution does not prohibit partisan gerrymandering. The justices split 4-3 today and explained their reasons for previously upholding a Republican congressional redistricting law. The state Supreme Court issued only a brief opinion last month in approving the new congressional map. The court's majority said the Kansas Constitution permits legislators to consider partisan factors in redistricting. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly showed her appreciation to child care workers by giving out bonuses. Governor Kelly announced her administration is giving out $53 million as a reward for the workers' incredibly essential and hard work. About 22,650 early childhood care staff, care members across Kansas will receive bonuses ranging from $750 to $2,500 per person. All eligible child care workers are going to receive a letter in July outlining the process to accept bonus and will have until November 18th to accept. Meteorologist Doug Heddy joining us now. First look at the forecast. Still dangerously hot out there, Doug.
Yeah, another hot one for us today. Temperatures climbed again into the mid-90s. We had heat indices about 105. Started at 70. Average high is 87. Record high on this date, 101, set back in 1953. We've been dry, but you can see the clouds if you look outside. Thunderstorms in our far northwestern counties. Most of these are shooting up near Kansas City, but they are clipping Greenwood County, kind of staying just to the west of Yates Center, up into Coffee County on the Kansas side. Our chances for rain, meaning the entire 4-state area, will start to go up as we work into the daytime hours tomorrow. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
Thanks as always. It's the first official day of summer, although it's been hot for quite a while now, right? As we all try to beat the heat. One of the most common places where safety is needed, construction sites. KOM's Jalen Banks catches up with some workers to see how they are staying safe.
According to the CDC, more than 600 heat-related deaths happen in the U.S. a year. And the 3 most common places these happen are homes without AC, cars, and construction work sites.
The RFB construction team is finding ways to combat the heat to ensure their safety.
When it's really hot like this, and especially when we're pouring concrete, we'll do some early pours. Like maybe we'll start at 5 instead of starting at like an 8 a.m. pour. And we'll quit early. Maybe we'll quit at like 2 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. or 7 p.m.
The crew also combats the heat by wearing sunscreen, sunglasses, brimmed hats to cover their face, and thinner long sleeve shirts.
A lot of people be asking us, why you guys wear long sleeves? You know, we wear long sleeves because, I mean, when you're working out here on the heat, you sweat. And if you get a little cold breeze, that'll cool you down. So that's one of the reasons why we wear the long sleeve shirts. You know, because we get that, we get asked that a lot.
The workers know that hydration and nutrition is something that does not start the day of, but the day before.
You got to make sure you eat good, very good, you know, get good sleep at night. Try to drink plenty of water, you know, just to be good the next day.
In Pittsburgh, at the RFB construction site, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
For more information on how to stay safe in the heat, just go to our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Arvis Bank gave the Joplin School District a check to wrap up its 2022 Million Meals campaign. Million Meals is an annual fundraising event held by Arvis Bank to help feed people in the 4-state area and raise awareness about food insecurity. Today, Arvis gave the Joplin School District more than $88,000 to support Joplin Bright Futures.
So Arvis partnership with Joplin Bright Futures has continued for so many years because we really feel like Joplin Bright Futures makes a real difference in these students' lives and kids' lives across the entire 4 states.
The campaign raised money for more than 1.9 million meals across the Arvis footprint, with 109,000 meals given right here in the 4-state area. Local State Farm owner Nate Long today gave the Miami Fire Department $2,000 to help restore an antique fire truck. Some members of the fire department are helping refurbish the 1949 number 6 Seagrave. Various fundraisers have raised more than $13,000 for the $15,000 project.
It immediately sparked an interest as a, previous career fireman. I've got a lot of family that still does it. And you know, it's kind of personal. I enjoy it, and I was excited to be able to help.
The Seagrave fire truck was in service from 1949 to the 80s. Inflation is an obstacle for a lot of businesses, including a Carthage boutique. Tiara Hawes is the owner of T Squared Boutique. She's determined to stay affordable despite her business costs rising. Hawes decided to make her boutique online only to compensate for the inflation in shipping, products, and leases.
There for a while, sales were down, and I hate and I really miss meeting the people that come into your brick and mortar store. Like, I'm a people person, I love to talk, so I love having the face-to-face contact with the customers. I really miss that.
Hawes says the move to online only has also sped up how quickly she can get those orders out. Well, as officials are releasing more startling details about the police response to Uvalde's school shooting, Senate negotiators putting the finishing touches on a bipartisan gun control package that supporters hope will be the first meaningful gun legislation to pass Congress in decades. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins has more now from D.C.
How about trying the door and see if it's unlocked?
Turns out they never even checked. That's according to Colonel Steve McCraw, director of the Texas Department of Public Safety, who believes the classroom door was never locked. Yet armed law enforcement officers in position within 3 minutes of the gunman's entrance waited outside for over an hour for a key before finally storming in and killing him.
There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure.
McCraw also told Texas state lawmakers that the Uvalde School District police chief in charge put the lives of officers ahead of the lives of the 19 children and 2 teachers killed.
I don't care if you have flip-flops and wearing Bermuda shorts. It doesn't matter. You go in.
This is a bipartisan group of senators in Washington who began negotiating almost immediately after the May 24th Uvalde massacre race against the clock to produce a gun control bill before the 4th of July recess.
My fear is we're going to be asked to vote on it maybe as early as this week, final passage, and nobody has yet seen the text of the thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that there is an increasingly high likelihood that this will pass.
The Senate needs to produce a bill soon in order to vote on it before the recess, because pushing it until after threatens rare bipartisan momentum not seen in decades on guns. In Washington, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Frank Barcelona served in the U.S. Army from 1943 to 45. Native of Arma, Kansas, Barcelona spent time in Italy, Sicily, and Naples. We are proud to thank Private First Class Frank Barcelona. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Doug Kenny's next with completely the forecast, and a little later, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol, holding its 4th public hearing.
Less.
Well, of course, we had all that rain in the month of May and then through the first half of June, but really for the past 2 weeks, we've really dried up. So we're only at 2.16 inches of rain for the month of June, which is below average. We're usually 3.5, 4 inches at this point in time. We're still above average for the year by 5, but at one point in time, we were about 10 or 11 inches above where we should be. Temps are still warm. We're sitting into lower 80s right now. We still have a heat index outside. It makes it feel like it's muggy. It's upper 80s to near 90 degrees. You can see thunderstorms to our northwest. We're looking at 7th and Range Line. 83 southerly winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity 65%. Most of us have been dry, but thunderstorms have been kind of skirting our northwestern counties over the past several hours. Some of those have been strong to severe, mainly across parts of Greenwood County, kind of staying just west of Yates Center, just north of Yates Center up into Coffee County. And these are mainly going to stay north of the region for us tonight, kind of heading from Topeka, Lawrence over toward Kansas City. So not a big threat for us, but this system will head toward us and at least give us some rain chances as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow, as this cold front, you can see this wind shift line starts to work into our direction as we go through about the next 12 to 24 hours. All right, let's go hour by hour through time. We'll stop at 3 o'clock in the morning. Most of the storms north of the region. By morning, 6 a.m., not a whole bunch going on for us. Still upper 60s to lower 70s. And then late morning into early afternoon, a few isolated thunderstorms will try to get going. I only think it's going to be about 20 or 30% of us. That's why I'm going 20 or 30% chance, because they are going to be very hit and miss. Temperatures a little bit better tomorrow. Start at 70, 85 by noon. High temp right around 90 and north wind at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow evening, still some hit and miss isolated storms. So I'd see if this complex can work in before it dies tomorrow evening into the overnight hours. Then as we go into Thursday morning, still we're going to have some hit and miss isolated storms. A few more may pop up late morning into the early afternoon. So these are just really hit and miss. Hopefully a little more hit over the next couple days instead of miss. Temperatures right around 90 degrees once again as we go into Thursday afternoon. Heat indices a little better tomorrow. Lower 90s northern counties, upper 90s in our southern counties, and then kind of low to mid 90s again by the time we get into Thursday afternoon. Then the heat really kicks in. We warm upper 90s to near 100 by the time we head into Friday, and then temperatures near 100 again by the time we head into Saturday. But at least we're going to really cool down by the second half of the weekend. 90 tomorrow, 90 on Thursday, 96 Friday, 100 Saturday. But then look at this. 80s roll in Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
You know, I was thinking about a good scientific word to use. And this is just, ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
It's pretty nasty. See you in a little bit. Thanks so
Alrighty.
much, Doug. Hey, here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction, as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime on our website. Again, KOAMnewsnow.com/power. Today, top election officials from Georgia and Arizona testified before the January 6th committee. Their testimony focusing on former President Trump's efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Fox's Madeline Rivera has a closer look now from Washington.
The House Select Committee says former President Trump's pressure campaign on state officials led to public harassment and threatened their lives.
The January 6th committee holding another public hearing on last year's Capitol riot.
Everything we described today, the relentless, destructive pressure campaign on state and local officials, was all based on a lie.
Republican officials from Arizona and Georgia testified about former President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. They stood up to the president and turned him down.
There was no evidence being presented of any strength.
The committee played videos to lay out the case that the Trump team's pressure campaign led to state officials being harassed and threatened at their homes. Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger spoke about his phone call with President Trump days before the Capitol attack.
The ballots are unsigned. The ballots are corrupt.
Trump asked him to find nearly 12,000 votes, which would flip the state of Georgia in his favor.
The numbers don't lie. We had many allegations, and we investigated every single one of them.
Before the hearing began, Trump blasted the committee. Legal analysts are now waiting to see if the Justice Department will bring any charges.
The evidence pretty clearly shows his unfitness. It even suggests that he may be guilty of a crime, maybe not.
The committee will hold another public hearing on Thursday, this time focusing on Trump's pressure campaign on the Department of Justice. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, more information about Americans who decided to help Ukraine.
One American is confirmed dead and others are being held in Moscow as the war in Ukraine grinds on. I'm Steve Harrigan in Odessa. That story ahead.
Tobacco companies could be required to lower nicotine levels in cigarettes sold here in the U.S. The Biden administration is expected to announce its intention to issue a ruling requiring tobacco companies to make lower nicotine cigarettes as a way to reduce those smoking-related deaths. Now, the new initiative is expected to be unveiled as part of the Biden administration's unified agenda. Experts say it could take at least a year for the FDA to issue a proposed rule before sifting through public comments, then issuing a final ruling on the matter. Look at this. NASA conducting a critical dress rehearsal ahead of its much-anticipated moon rocket launch. The space agency fueled its moon rocket for the first time yesterday. 1 million gallons of liquid hydrogen and oxygen were loaded into the 322-foot rocket. And despite a fuel line leak, NASA went ahead with its countdown. This was NASA's fourth attempt at a dress rehearsal. Previous attempts had been stalled by a fuel leak along with other technical issues. Now, the test flight, I'd say this is an understatement. Test flight is critical before an astronaut crew climbs aboard and attempts to fly around the moon and back, which is planned, by the way, for 2024. It's critical. As the fighting in eastern Ukraine ramps up, the Kremlin says 2 Americans being held in Russia are, quote, criminals who are fighting with the Ukrainians. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Ukraine.
As the war intensifies along the Eastern Front, we are learning more about the fate of Americans who went missing after fighting alongside the Ukrainians. 52-year-old Steven Zabielski has been missing since May. He's now been confirmed to have died in battle against Russian forces in southern Ukraine. 2 other men, Alexander Druki and Andy Wynn, both former American service members, are being held by Moscow. The Kremlin saying Tuesday they will not be given the same protections as prisoners of war. Instead, they're being treated as, quote, criminals and facing a possible death penalty.
It's appalling that a public official in Russia would even suggest the death penalty for 2 American citizens that were in Ukraine.
The move is being seen by some as a diplomatic escalation at a time when the Russians are regrouping for a major new push to take the Donbas region. But the Ukrainians are putting up fierce resistance, and they say the next few days could decide the fate of eastern Ukraine, with President Volodymyr Zelensky appealing for more aid from the West, saying it's urgently needed to stop the Russian artillery.
The end of this war and its circumstances depend on the world's attention. And that's why I need allies.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland arrived in Ukraine today for an unannounced visit to offer U.S. assistance in investigating Russian war crimes. In Odessa, Ukraine, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
Still ahead, how some Southwest Missouri businesses are helping Amazon customers keep those deliveries safe from thieves.
Ashley.
AAA predicting a record number of July 4th drivers, despite gas prices hitting a record earlier this month. The group predicts 42 million Americans, more than ever before, are going to take a road trip of 50 miles or more. The national average per gallon yesterday stood at $4.98. And while AAA says travel demand is not tapering off, despite the higher expenses, fewer Americans are going to be flying to their destinations because of spikes in airfare. Amazon has hubs all across the country, right? In convenience stores, grocery stores, apartment buildings, malls. The alternative shipping locations are designed to prevent package theft. And as Lauren Schrenker reports, more and more people in one Southwest Missouri city are turning to the local come-and-go stations for delivery.
Are stepping up to use services to help prevent package theft. The newest Amazon hub.
We've definitely seen it pick up on our end. I mean, I think there's a couple different reasons why we offer it and why people use it. But I mean, it allows customers the convenience of having their packages sent to a secure nearby location.
According to Amazon, the program enables any business with a physical location to offer secure package pickup and returns to Amazon customers. The 2 come-and-go locations in Republic are serving as hubs. Amazon says the self-service kiosk allows you to pick up your package at a place and time that's convenient for you, even evenings and weekends. Right now in Republic, these hubs do not offer the return service.
As terms of our offerings, we only offer the package pickup option. So customers can have packages delivered. At this time, we don't handle or accept returns.
Amazon Hub service is available at all come-and-go stores in the area. Mickey D's celebrating the start of summer. Going to find out how you can score a free drink on this hot summer day. All right, so McDonald's is giving customers a free fountain Sprite today, the beginning of this summer. People on social media have started a meme based on the sound of McDonald's Sprite, by the way, to describe its taste, saying it sounds like a zipper closing, a dog growling, even like TV static. Now, we were talking about this during the break. I can get the TV static part. You know, when you pour some Sprite into a cup, TV static, but a dog growling? Kind of demented drink are these people drinking? To get the free soda, customers have to use the McDonald's app. Okay, use the McDonald's app. Buy just $1 worth of food the rest of today. Now, there's several McDonald's that stay open late, so you still have time. So if you really, really, really like Sprite, here you go. If you don't, kind of like me, it's still an interesting story, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
How a local business owned by a gay couple and ran mostly of employees part of the LGBTQ plus community are benefiting this Pride Month. I'm Bella Wine with more on their story.
Plus, City of Joplin hosting a meeting to discuss the Easttown District's National Historic Register nomination.
We're here to help.
Joplin residents getting an update on the process to add Easttown to a historic National Register. The Broadway district of Easttown has now been nominated to that register. If it becomes approved, it's going to recognize the significance and history of the area to its community, preserve and archive the generated research, and allow for special funding for the district.
The criteria is the baseline is they have to be 50 years old. And they have to have some sense of historic integrity, and that what they say, would the owner recognize it if they came up today as their house or building. So that's the baseline, but after that it should have like some type of historic story.
The district would need to be approved by the state first, then the federal registry. Pride Month being celebrated nationwide and here in the forested area. One small business in Independence, Kansas is reaping the benefits this June. KOAM's Bella Line has more on this story.
Behind me is Magnolia Scents by Design, a local shop in Independence, Kansas that began in a college house in 2006. Magnolia Scents by Design began as a way for Brian Height and his husband Ryan to afford presents for friends and family while attending college at Emporia State University. Over the last 16 years, the business moved from selling candles out of their house with homemade catalogs to having a successful storefront in downtown Independence. But making home fragrances is only part of their brand's mission.
Yes, we sell lots of great smelling things that we make. That's wonderful. Great. That makes us cool, but it's not what really makes us special. And so we decided to hang our first pride flag a few years ago, and we just kept building and building.
The business has attracted employees and customers, a part of the LGBTQ plus community, to support the diversity-rich store.
We have had several, I would say probably high school and college age kids, with ICC being here as well. We have a lot of local kids that come in that are just like so excited when they see our pride candles and that we're a safe space here.
The store sells pride flags, stickers, and candles with names of well-known activists in the LGBTQ plus community, which has come with little backlash, but initially raised concern in the owners.
Absolutely terrifying. We did not know. I mean, even so simple as having something stolen or a window broken, or we didn't know. We put up a pride flag. Everybody knows what that means. That was the first kind of staking of our claim out loud, visibly, in front of people, inarguably.
Magnolia Scents by Design continues to be a staple of acceptance and diversity in Southeast Kansas. Okay. In Independence, Kansas, Bella Wine, KOAM News.
Workers at Magnolia's Scents say they have an increase in sales every year in June, and are attributing this on the overwhelming community support. Fort Scott community members are preparing to welcome bicyclists from around the world as they compete in the Race Across America bike race. The race began on June 14th for single riders and Sunday for groups. One family in Fort Scott has opened their home up to riders every summer since 2015 by providing free food, a space to rest, and their popular pumpkin bread. Today, a cyclist team in the USA and other single cyclists from Europe stopped at the family's home to be greeted with these free goods.
Drivers take more chances around people wearing helmets than not wearing helmets. And if people would just pay attention a little more, we wouldn't have the accidents that we do have.
The journey from Oceanside, California to Annapolis, Maryland is over 3,000 miles and is going to last up to a week and a half, if, of course, weather permits. Prom season is back, but maybe not for who you would assume. Senior citizens in Carthage returned for their senior prom after being canceled for 2 years because of COVID, of course. The prom goers enjoyed food and some music. A smaller crowd did not stop seniors from also getting down on the dance floor.
Today we're having the senior prom, and the senior prom is just a fun event for our seniors in the community to get all dressed up and come out and have a little fun. We have door prizes, dancing, and of course great food.
Fun time. Local businesses, hospice, and the Senior Community Committee host the prom every year since 2009. After a 3-month wait, the Spiva Center for the Arts received a $5,000 grant from the Corley Memorial Trust Grant. The grant enables summer camp prices to be reduced from $100 to $20, which has resulted in an increase in enrollment. The summer classes are intended to help children and adults explore their creative side.
Our classes have so many benefits to children. I mean, it fosters independence and confidence and, of course, art skills, which is really great. But kids tend to blossom in their creativity and confidence when their love of art is fostered. Classes are available for both children and adults. All right, as we heard about earlier, today is the first day of summer, and several Joplin businesses celebrated the summer solstice. People could get a stamp at Blue Moon, Blush, Sophie, Beast and Barrel, or Planned Parenthood. Get entered to win more than $300 worth of gift cards to downtown businesses.
Yeah, it's great, and that's the best part of the job. You know, like customer service is our main thing. We want everybody to be able to come in here, grab a drink, grab some snacks, shop, feel at home, and we want them just, I mean, we don't care if they buy anything. If they come down here and have fun, and if it's a smile on my face and their face, then it's a win-win.
People could also enjoy some
It's
food.
just fun to get to. I've met so many different people having the store, and it's just fun to have a girls' night.
I think it's my turn to talk now. People could also enjoy some food and drinks along with their shopping routes. I just stand in front of the camera and do what people tell me to do. I talk now. A bit later, very delicate clothes.
These clothes are definitely not machine washable. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at a unique fashion show where the clothes are made from food and are helping to teach cultural lessons. That's all straight ahead.
Albert Marine.
The American Academy of Pediatrics now recommending screenings for depression and suicide risk at children's wellness visits as part of the AAP's updated schedule for preventive care. Doctors are also asked to assess the risk for conditions that can lead to sudden cardiac arrest or death for children 11 to 21 years of age. If you're good at Wordle, I'm not, but if you are, you may be skilled at other new puzzles and better focused at school or work. A team of California psychologists found that people who showed the ability to apply skills to similar games, known as near transfer, were also more likely to be able to apply the skills in daily activities, known as far transfer. Researchers are launching a larger scale project to further study brain training. Millions of Americans are currently under heat warnings and advisories because of a persistent heat dome, which will bring oppressive conditions to parts of the Midwest and Southeast. This as wildfires burn in a number of states with hot and dry conditions creating challenges for fire crews nationwide. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has the latest from LA.
The first day of summer is upon us, and millions of Americans will be feeling the heat. Triple-digit temperatures are on deck this week for much of the Midwest and Southeast as a heat dome takes over the entire region. Highs in Atlanta, Memphis, and New Orleans are forecasted to near 100 degrees by midweek. Health experts are telling people to avoid strenuous activities during the day and to drink plenty of water to lessen the risk of heat-related illness.
A lot of the places where this extreme heat is occurring, it's co-occurring with very high humidity. So some of the health impacts and the cooling demands associated with that heat are further amplified.
And with the heat comes wildfires. In Arizona, the pipeline fires burned more than 26,000 acres of land near Flagstaff. It's 50% contained, but officials are concerned it will spread over the next few days due to hot, dry, and windy conditions in the forecast. Meanwhile, a rare wildfire dubbed the Mullica River fires burned through 13,500 acres across 4 townships in southern New Jersey. Officials say an illegal campfire may have started the blaze. It could end up being the state's largest wildfire in more than a decade.
We're lucky that we've been able to avoid damage to private homes and keep people safe, but all of it avoidable. And it reminds me of the imperative that we should all share, like we share this environment, to take good care of one another.
On Tuesday, President Biden signed off on a pay raise for more than 16,000 firefighters as we enter the height of wildfire season. In Los Angeles, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
Back with more news after this. Growing up, parents probably told you not to play with your food. Okay, so what about wearing it? Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez has a look at the fashion show serving up fresh looks made with food and the cultural messages behind it.
The clothes in this fashion show look good enough to eat. And if you're feeling a little hungry, well, you probably could. That's because roughly 70% of them are made with real food. These unique looks causing stomachs to growl are also shining a light on gastronomy, a practice examining the dynamic relationships between food and cultures from around the world. And gastronomy students at a university in Mexico City are the masterminds behind this show, working with popular foods used in Mexican cuisine like chilies, cacao, dried fruit, and caramel.
We used purple ayocote to make the jacket. Everything was embroidered by hand.
To make clothes highlighting a variety of diverse social groups like hipsters, goths, and more.
Behind the design of each one of these costumes, there is research into the urban tribe. There is research into the designs, into the way they express themselves.
And gastronomy is becoming quite the global phenomenon, with the United Nations World Tourism Organization saying it promotes an understanding among different cultures and brings people and traditions together. Meanwhile, if you're still looking for a summer vacation idea, gastronomy tourism could be your ticket to discovering the world. The UNWTO says it helps fuel jobs and other opportunities in foreign countries for communities in mostly rural areas. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, gonna break down all the movie theater blockbusters still to come this year. Top Gun Maverick kicked off the summer in a big way at the box office, and blockbusters are going to keep rolling out into fall. We've already seen several trailers giving a first look at some of these films, including franchises, sequels, superheroes. We have a preview of a few of the most highly anticipated to mark the calendar. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
I got an urgent locate and destroy.
The Gray Man, starring Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling, is among blockbusters on the way.
The Russo brothers' first summer blockbuster since they came out with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and they are reuniting with their Captain America, Chris Evans.
Franchises include Hulu's Prey.
Let's talk about how they're doing this franchise prequel story.
Is a Predator movie that takes place 300 years ago. The Comanches are hunting and hunting prey, and then they realize that they are now being hunted by a predator.
October brings Halloween Ends.
Jamie Lee Curtis's last go round with Michael Myers as Laurie Strode.
A trailer has been released for October's DC antihero Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson.
Bestowed powers of an Egyptian god. He is then enslaved, but then freed thousands of years later, and he is the only one that can save the world.
Also in November, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Not much is known right now about the highly anticipated Black Panther sequel, including how the story will move forward without T'Challa, played by the late Chadwick Boseman. This is going to be a big one. Probably one of the bigger Marvel movies that we have seen in the pandemic era.
December has superhero sequel Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And we've gotten a glimpse of the immersive 3D return to Pandora, Avatar: The Way of Water.
Maybe you went through a little bit of a 3D period after Avatar came out and then you stopped going. Well, this is going to be the one that you return to go see. James Cameron, one of our great visionary filmmakers, and this is one of 4, believe it or not, sequels.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with a video of the sun rising over Stonehenge for the summer solstice. Beautiful. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.